This is Food Chemistry Unit 5. We're still in Chapter 18, Food Infection. Now, this is an infection caused by microbes themselves. They release digestive enzymes that destroy body tissue and cause illness. Bacteria, parasites, viruses must be present to cause the disease. Listeria monocytogenes. This causes listeriosis. This is a bacteria found in soil, water, and some animal species. Food sources would be your soft cheeses, uncooked meats, unwashed vegetables, unpasteurized milk. They can grow and multiply at refrigerator temperatures. They can grow in 10% salt solutions and at a pH of 9, so that's basic. 9 to 48 hours after eating, the symptoms can start. Symptoms include fever, headache, nausea, diarrhea, vomiting. Infections in pregnant women could lead to miscarriages. Pregnant women, newborns, and people with a weak immune system are at the greatest risk. Cook raw meat and poultry well and wash your raw vegetables. People in high risk groups should avoid soft cheeses like feta and brie, and heat processed meats properly, like your hot dogs and deli meats. Salmonella. This bacteria causes salmonellosis or salmonellosis. This bacteria attaches to the lining of the intestines and releases digestive enzymes. 6 to 48 hours after eating, the symptoms can start. Symptoms include diarrhea, cramps, fever, nausea, vomiting, chills, and headache. Less than 1% end in death. It's less dangerous than botulism. Young children, older adults, and people with other illnesses are at the greatest risk. Eggs and poultry are the most frequent sources of outbreaks. Bacteria can live on birds without making the birds sick. The bacteria is becoming resistant to antibiotics. Food handlers need to practice proper hygiene and sanitation. Food needs to be cooked properly. Bacteria grows quickly between 50 and 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Poultry needs to be cooked completely. Ground beef to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Raw or uncooked eggs in recipes is a risk. And you've probably seen this in movies. He's literally drinking a glass of raw eggs. I don't get that, but you run the risk of picking up this. So that's why that's not the smartest move. I know they're doing it for protein, but there's other ways to get protein. All right, parasitic infections. Many foodborne illnesses are caused by a microorganism other than bacteria. Parasites live on or feed on hosts, and the host is the animal or plant of which a parasite receives the nutrients. Trichinella spiralis. I will learn how to speak, I promise. Trichinella spiralis. It's a microscopic round worm right there. You can see it here in the tissue. It occurs in hogs, wild animals like bears, boars, and rabbits. It enters the host as an adult worm or larvae through infected food. Once ingested, the larvae attach themselves to the intestinal wall, produce new larvae in the intestines, they move to the bloodstream, then the muscles, and the larvae can survive for years in the muscle tissue of a host, and they cause trichinosis. Symptoms are nausea, abdominal pain, and diarrhea. Once the larvae enter your muscles, you feel muscle pain and fever. Cook your meats properly. Cured, smoked, and fermented meats destroy the larvae. Pork, this used to be the most common source, but this has been reduced. Today, it's fresh game meats that are the most common source in the US. I think people are not cooking these properly. Things like bear, boar, and rabbit. Viral infections. A virus, it's a disease-causing agent with genetic material surrounded by a protein coat. They do not multiply in food, but they can be transmitted in food. And these are difficult to detect in food. The virus needs to inject its genetic material into a host. The host then makes more of the virus. This is often transmitted by what's called a fecal-oral route. Food handlers need to practice proper hygiene and sanitation. So fecal is when you go to the bathroom. If you don't wash your hands, this gets on the food and then into you because you eat it, right? Crops can have sewage contaminated water or fertilizer on them and are not cleaned properly. The rotavirus is often in young children. Most survive this and develop immunity. It's just a common one in young children. The Norwalk virus was, the first outbreak was in Norwalk, Ohio. There's mild flu-like symptoms lasting 1 to 2 days that can occur in all ages. Hepatitis A, anything with this hepatitis means it's a liver issue. It's transmitted through food. A liver infection results. Cook foods properly, especially shellfish. Prions. These are misfolded proteins that cause infection. They cannot be broken down by proteases in the body. They form clumps in your central nervous system and brain tissue. So I mentioned this one because of this right here, this bovine spongiform encephalopathy. That is the mad cow disease. There's similar diseases in elk, deer, goats, and sheep, but more people eat cows. It's found in humans as well if it's in the food supply. The animals can be infected from contaminated feed.